Priya, Rajani, Urvi, Shah with me in studio. We want to break the myths about fitness in your 40s. Let's talk about what this looks like and how to embrace your fitness journey even in the later decades of your life, as you both have done. Let's begin with you, Urvi. Tell me a little bit about yourself, and we'd love to hear after that from you as well, Priya.
So I'm Urvi Shah. I am a jewelry designer. My brand is called Poetic Trends Jewelry. And I'm a mom of two, a wife, a carer, and a very, very passionate fitness coach.
Hi, thank you for having me on today. My name is Priya, and I am a personal trainer. I am a mom of two. I am a health and fitness coach for FitBanker, and I am just completely passionate about my health. So I'm really excited to be on. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, I'm so glad you're here. So Urvi, off air, you mentioned that your mom had a stroke earlier on as well, and this was a big part of your why for getting even deeper into your fitness journey. Can you tell us about that?
So I started my journey of fitness when my second born was 8 months old. And I am here in the room with this beautiful girl, Priya, because on social media, she was sharing her journey on how life could be as a supermom. And that's actually how I got inspired to take on my health journey. But just when I started the journey, my mom, during peak COVID, went into a coma because she was diagnosed with a brain tumor. And after the operation, she didn't wake up. And she didn't wake up just not one day, not just 2 days, not just 3 days, but 8 weeks. And this was peak COVID when we couldn't see anybody. And I was breastfeeding my 8-month-old at that time. So my life was breastfeeding my 8-month-old and going into the ICU to say, Mom, can you wake up? And that is my peak time where I realized that everyone is banking on me and my fitness, emotionally, mentally, physically. And that is my start of my well-being journey.
Wow, that must have been such a difficult journey to actually go through, isn't it? Priya, you also mentioned that similarly, there was a moment of something terrifying that motivated you, a near-death experience. Are you open to sharing with us what that was like?
Absolutely, thank you. So what had happened is both my kids had nearly drowned. We had a death experience.
Oh my.
And we were on a beach outside of Atlanta, and it's a port, and what happened is the ship passes and creates a wake, which is like a tsunami effect of the waves. And what happened is both kids got pushed onto either side, and I had to swim and save them. And I had to really get out of my own head and really focus on trying to save these kids. It meant me getting out of my own comfort zone, getting uncomfortable, fighting these big waves that were with the riptides pulling the kids in. Like, it was just really hard. So I just realized that if I wasn't at the best of health in the mental space, at optimal level, if I wasn't able to move, if I wasn't able to swim, I would have lost both boys on that day. But luckily, I was able to save them.
That is terrifying, to be able to think that you and these children are relying absolutely on the strength you have to swim, and be able to get them out of there must have been a harrowing journey for sure. And it's evident, that being fit for yourself in both your experiences were also vitally connected to being fit for those around you, your loved ones. Urvi, starting with you, can we delve now into the grander scheme? Why is it important for women in their 40s to focus on their fitness physically, emotionally, mentally?
I feel like we're so stigmated when we're young that 40 is like when we get old. That was how I've grown up to be. Like,
yeah.
I think last year when I was 39, I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna be 40.
It's scary, right? First.
It's like scary, but I think I've reversed my age over the past 4 years of taking on my well-being, and my metabolic age is actually 24 right now.
Wow.
And I'm 40.
That's amazing.
And my husband can't keep up with me, I'll be honest. Because you find energy, which is like, I don't think I had this energy, to be honest, even when I was in my university, because my lifestyle was so different to what I am today. So, I really do feel like there is so much you can achieve when you take on your health. And really literally 40 or 60 or 80 just becomes a number. And that's the knowledge we really are passionate to pass to women. Like, don't be okay. Your status quo shouldn't be like, okay, now I'm a mom and now I'm gonna be 40. Now we're gonna get older anyway. Let's live life and just eat and live life. Like, that's just so, that's our norm, right? And
Yeah,
to break,
absolutely.
that's the norm that we hear and grown up with. And that's something that, we'll touch base more into what we do and what's our new norm and how do we live an optimal life.
Okay, that's wonderful. Priya, what do you say?
I actually think 40 is a new powerful era where now it moves from an aesthetic way of being to now taking on yourself and loving yourself even more, because now you're looking at the physical, like the mental and the emotional aspect of things. Now when you're looking at physical, you want to be stronger, you want to have more muscle, you want to improve your cardiovascular health. And then mental, of course, there's so many things that come up being a mom. You know, you want to avoid any anxiety or any depression or improve your moods as well. And then you also want to release all these endorphins, and just being a better version of yourself every single day is so important.
Yeah, it's so true. In fact, if you just focus on it as being, I want to be my best self today, every single day is what it is.
Exactly, the best version of you every single day, and that's what you bring.
Yeah, because otherwise I think you also get caught up in the aesthetic aspect of it. Like, oh, I just want to look this way and that's how I'm going to be fit, you know?
Yeah, and then what about energy levels? Like, how much energy do we need being this age? Whatever it takes, like your work, your family, your kids. So I think energy as well is such a big part of it.
All right, amazing. We're going to get further into this conversation with Urvi and Priya right here. Do stay with us. Now, ladies, what are some myths about fitness at 40?
So the first one I always hear as a personal trainer is strength training makes you bulky.
Yeah, I've heard that one.
You can't lose weight before 40. At 40, you know, I'm hitting perimenopause.
Oh my.
You can't exercise when breastfeeding and have to eat double because you are eating for two.
I don't want to become muscular, so I don't really want to do weights. I just want to do cardio, and that's enough, and I walk.
All right, those are the myths. I would say common conceptions many actually have. How do you bust those?
So there are many, many more myths, but this is our transformation journey that we've taken on. On our program that we do as Fit Bankers is where we really learned how to debunk eating habits, nutrition, sleep, mind-body connection, because it's all related. It's the weight that we pick up in our brain more than the actual weight that we're gonna pick up. To wake up every day, to show up strong. So that's the program. So we cover 6 pillars of health, and the 7th one is purpose. And purpose is also very important at the age of 40 for a woman.
Absolutely.
That is so important in both of our journeys, I feel like, and all the people that we have interacted with in our programs. To find their swabha, to find their purpose is what gets them to show up, and to show up to their why, to show up to their optimal health, to show up for their family. And that's how you debunk an education.
Priya, what's your take?
So similar thing, I did the same thing with my Fit Banker journey, where you're looking at physical activity, where you're actually lifting the weights to build the muscle, increase your bone density, and then you're doing the cardio for your cardiovascular health. And then you have your nutrition, like, are you fueling your body enough to make sure you're getting enough protein, carbs, and fats? Are you overeating or are you undereating? Where is the food going in your body? So all this education is so important. Sleep is such a big factor that we tend to overlook a lot of times, and that is something so crucial in my journey that's been important. Mind-body connection, so much of what goes on in our mind is how we are reacting and what our body is holding on to, but we don't realize it until we look deeper into it. And then our social connections, what does that look like? Who are the community we're around? What's our accountability? What's your relationship with yourself and other people as well? And then following your purpose and your dharma, is so crucial. Like you can be stuck in a job that you don't enjoy, you don't want to be in, but when you follow your heart and you're completely clear what your transformation is and what impact you want to create for people, it's just such a big ripple effect, and that's what I find really empowering and inspiring.
And the purpose, like you mentioned, is also related to your level of fitness, right? Sometimes our purpose is so linked to our jobs and we give up our health for our job. Urvi, how can this sort of conundrum be addressed?
Definitely. So the first investment that we should be having is us. And we do a lot of corporate events. And, we really do emphasize that when your staff or you yourself are feeling at optimal, you're going to perform way more at work. Way more, because you're driven. You're not increasing hours so that you can't exercise. You actually want to exercise so that you can impact the company that you're working for or for yourself. And that's me. I have 2 branches of my jewelry branch. I have 2 kids. And my oxygen, I put the oxygen first the mask first on me, because if I don't wake up at 5 and do my routine, the whole day is impacted. I've got a team who's waiting for me. I've got my family and my kids are waiting for me after school to really give them my 100% time and energy to play football or to play tennis. Or how will I achieve that is when you first optimize yourself as a 40-year-old woman, or as a mother, or as a woman. You got to optimize your mental strength. So I do my journaling, I do my morning meditations, and I do my cardio and weight training. And that's my breakfast.
Oh, cardio for breakfast. Sounds interesting. Now, Priya, let's shift gears to hormonal changes, because shifting metabolisms affect your fitness levels as well, particularly in the later decades. How about this aspect, and considering it when thinking of your fitness journey, what do you say?
Yes, hormonal changes will always happen, right? It's always showing up, it's always happening as we're growing older. Now, what the hormone affects is things like energy, your sleep, your motivation, recovery, how fast you recover, weight. However, it doesn't have to be affecting it. It's actually we take a holistic approach and look at it as how do we experientially change all of these factors that could be affecting us, and look at it as a how do we become more energetic, more strong, and then that makes you defeat the hormone part of it. It's not your hormone defeat, but it's more like a hormone savvy sort of thing. Like, so you become very conscious as to how you do all of this.
Basically, you're preempting, right? Usually we feel pretty enslaved by our hormones, like, oh, I am having a mood swing. I can't control what's happening with my hormones. This is elevated, that. You're saying we can actually circumvent that kind of lack of control by learning how our hormones will react and what we can do in the present for this.
Absolutely. Like, whatever you take on right now is going to impact how we are going to be in the future. So, you can pattern interrupt all of that. We have this thing of, oh, I'm hungry, I'm having a mood swing and I want something sweet. And, it can go into a cyclical effect. Completely understand it with the hormones, period, all that kind of thing. So I completely am clear that if we have all this preventative stuff done now, we won't have to stress about it when it does come up, because you'll have tools and ideas or experiential stuff that you've done that'll help.
Absolutely. Urvi, what do you think?
Exactly what Pri covered is emotional eating, which is a very important thing. So as a mother, we're tired and we're just going to eat what our kids are going to eat because we're tired, or we're frustrated and we're just like, at the end of the day, what do? Oh, I deserve this chocolate. Like, I've had a day of
meltdowns
and you have your chocolate. So emotional eating is so key to the 40s and the 50s. And I must say, because I said the myth or the topic is perimenopause, which is at the age of 40, which we hear people are going to go into it, there's fear around it.
Yes.
There's fear around menopause and perimenopause. But actually, me and Pri don't fear it, because we're in our 25s. Why?
Amazing.
Because you prevent it from now. You have anti-inflammatory foods that actually make you not feel all these hot flushes and everything that women are going through, bloating in the stomach, all the impacts of hair fall, hair loss. It actually is because what we eat is 98% of who we are, and all the dis-ease that surrounds it. You know, I'm so passionate about this because I interact with 200 people have signed up for the program in Kenya and globally, plus thousands and thousands of lives, and we interact with so many women. And one of the main things that we are passionate about is that women have thyroid, women have, postnatal depression, they have PCOS, but everything is transformable once we take on real health and avoid these inflammatory foods. So, you know, it's so key that food is also part and parcel of the 40 journey. Yeah, we ate what we can when we were 20, but it's not going to be the same impact when we're 40. So
food is the medicine that you need. Really.
Food is the medicine.
Hear the hits, watch the hits, hit music all day.
Like this. We play the hits.
All about the hits. All about the hits. All about the hits. All about the hits. We are Radio 44.
So Urvi, you mentioned a program you're involved with. You know, how can we find out more about what you guys are doing in terms of your fitness journey specifics and things like that? How can we find you on social media, online?
Thanks for asking. My Insta handle is Urvi Poetic. So we can tag you and they can follow the journey, and you know, they can DM me just to ask, you know, what's in their world, and I'm happy to answer their queries and guide them into what's next. And the program, we have several programs under the name Fit Banker, and we have a 90-day program which is focused on health. We have the healthy relationship program, which is focusing on the mental and emotional side. And we have adventures, which is leadership adventures, which is Kilimanjaro, and many other hiking trails, which are part of leadership. The mountain is within you, which is such a big thing that we believe in. Every day is a mountain, and how are we going to accomplish that mountain?
How are you going to keep climbing?
How do you keep climbing and, summit? And we have a coaching body as well under the program Fit Banker. So we are both coaches on the program, on the Fit Banker body. And we are performance accountability coaches, and we hold people accountable. That's the biggest thing that people need for their health journey. And what we teach on the program is the 23 hours outside the 1 hour of gym that you're doing, which is a lifestyle education that lasts a lifetime. And that's more about the program, so you can go on the website fitbanker.co. Reach out to me on my Insta handle, Urvi Poetic, and I can pass it on to Priya. She lives in Atlanta, and she can tell us a bit more.
Thanks, Urvi. My Instagram handle is Prizy2010, and I do all things health with the kids, with the family, make it a lifestyle, because I believe it does need to be sustainable and not a yo-yo diet. It has to be sustainable. So how we cook, how we exercise, we're all leading a fitness lifestyle.
Great. Now, something that we talked about earlier was caring for unwell loved ones and members of your family, members of your tribe who are also going through health challenges. How can this coincide, with your fitness journey? Because we know life comes at you real fast, especially in the later years.
So life will keep happening, right? And whatever that I learned, that I started implying and implementing on myself, is what I implemented on my mom. So if you watch my stories, my mom was in a coma for 8 weeks. We had a year during COVID of rehab where she was totally paralyzed on her right side. And today she's walking. She just turned 76. We are in the gym together twice a week.
That is incredible.
And whatever she eats is what I learned. Even in the ICU, I'd implemented it. So it's a big thing for me to, I get a lot of inbound inquiries about how do you be a best carer for a parent?
Yeah.
Feed them the right food. My mom starts her day with protein shake. And then she has sprouts and protein for breakfast. She doesn't have a toast or, foods that are not going to serve her, create insulin hikes. And how do you keep their muscle intact? As you age, the most important thing is that so that when they fall, they don't break. Yeah. And if you see everyone after 70, if they fall, they've got a broken knee, broken bone. Mm-hmm. But how do you help that is because you've built good muscle. So, to all the carers out there, people are banking on you So take on your fitness, learn the right way of eating and methodology of life so that you can serve them better. And my mom today is walking. I'm very grateful. Apart from cooking, she's painting. Her right side is back. She exercises, she goes out, and she's pain-free, she's disease-free, and she's happy.
Touch wood.
Touch wood. So we want that as a carer for anyone who's going through disease.
Absolutely. And you have talked about so many women in their 30s and 40s realizing that this part of their life journey is happening. It's also about having fun with it, right? Like climbing Kilimanjaro in a sari. Urvi, how? Just how did you do that?
So when they say you become optimal at health, the oxygen hits the brain and you become crazier. That's my answer to everyone out there, that when you take on your health, you want to keep challenging yourself. So in 2022, I climbed Kilimanjaro with FitBanker on the Leadership Summit as a participant. And I summited with such a ease because I was so energetically fit. And this was when I was 37. My kids were a year. I left her, and the other one was 4 or 5. And it took me something to leave them for 9 days to climb a mountain. But that was my biggest mountain within me, was to be like, I need to also live my life. I also need to, I was very passionate when I was 16-year-old to climb mountains. And I kind of forgot that, because that was one of the myths, right? You forget yourself, you forget what you love as a mother, because you do everything for the family. And that brought back to so much love within myself that I co-led the mountain with 25 people last year. And of course, when you do it the second time around, you've got to be better. So this time I had dreamt of doing a fashion show with my jewelry brand on Summit.
Oh my.
And we had applied to Guinness World Record, and there was a lot of protocols, and so that's
It's
still
a process, yeah.
that's still in the vision. But I did have my fellow guides also dress up, and we did a dance off on the mountain at Summit at Kili. And everything is in the mind. People say, weren't you cold, weren't you hot? But it's all in the mind. And challenging yourself is something, as we say, every day we better ourselves and do something that is going to challenge ourselves. So yeah, that was iconic in my life, and I'm glad I did it. And yeah, so that's more about Kilimanjaro and adventure and what we all love. And when I would invite every woman to close her eyes right now if she's listening and say, who was that 16-year-old girl and what did she love doing? Do not stop that, because you're married, because you're working, because you have kids. Do not stop that little light in your life that was, keeping you excited. And that's really something. And yeah.
And I'm going tomorrow.
Oh my goodness. We're so lucky to have you in studio. I would be like panicking in a sweat somewhere.
All the emotions are happening, scared, nervous, excited, super excited. And because I'm doing this journey with my sister, a few friends, my husband, it's just going to be a very spiritual journey for me. And I feel like the reason I wanted to do this is because I need to fill my cup. I need to fill my cup before I fill my kids. I had to leave them back home in Australia with my parents, and just organizing it logistically was a whole new level of drop them to Australia, come from Atlanta, come here, visit my family here, meet everybody in Kelly.
Basically, you've gone world over to make this happen.
Everywhere.
Literally.
That's right, everywhere.
Oh gosh.
So you make it happen when you really want it, right?
Yes, and you go for it full throttle, clearly.
100%. Just give your best version as always, the best version of you. Keep fighting for the vision that you have, that empowerment that you need, and the growth and the strength that comes with it, and the resilience up on the mountain.
I feel like we're vibrating on such a higher frequency. Ladies, as we wrap this up, I have some rapid fire questions for you. Okay, good to go?
Yes.
So, if you could only do one exercise for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Burpees.
If you could have any celebrity as a workout buddy, who would you pick?
J-Lo.
What's your go-to healthy snack after a workout?
A protein shake.
Yum. One food you'd never give up, even for abs.
Chocolate.
That's me. What's your most embarrassing fitness moment?
Maybe farting.
and it's natural, and we just let it go. All right, even as we close out this hour, thank you for joining us. You know what, Urvi, how would you respond to women who want to take up fitness much more seriously right now, today, or in their 40s? What do you tell them?
First, it will feel like a sacrifice. Then, it will feel like a grind. Then, it will feel like life. Then, it will feel like freedom.
Wow. So it's definitely all the feels you want.
The freedom you want is within optimal living.
Amazing. Priya, what do you say?
You know, when you asked me, there's a thing about the quote by the Dalai Lama, and when asked what surprised him the most about humanity, he answered man, because he sacrifices his health in order to make money. And then he sacrifices money to recuperate his health. And then he's so anxious about the future that he does not enjoy the present. The result being that he does not live in the present or the future. He lives as if he's never going to die, and then he dies living, never really lived.
And that is sad, isn't it?
It's really sad. But so when you put your health first, when you put what you eat, your nutrition, your exercise, your mindset, your energy, that's what it's all about. That's what life is all about.
Amazing. Urvi, Shah, Priya, Rajani, asante sana for being with us on Radio 44 and giving us some gems about fitness in your 40s. It's never too late to start your fitness journey. Thank you.